Slammed away.
There's Gaze. Another alley-oop pass. That's what we've been waiting for. Unbelievable timing on that. And it's the Tigers straight away. Gaze. Alley-oop. What a start.
Welcome to the Ultimate Supercoach and Fantasy Sports Show. You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are listening to us. This is Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast Network, NBL edition. That's right. You heard it here. We are bringing you NBL. My name's Supercoach Hawk, Rob Kennedy, sitting here with my good mate, the absolute guru of all things basketball, the SC Mattrix, Matty O'Brien. How are you, mate?
Mate, I am in my element. We wrapping up NRL. You're wrapping up AFL, but it doesn't stop here at Insight. We're here to talk basketball. We are here to talk NBL. We're here to talk Australian basketball. I've been talking about American basketball for like a month now. I just want to talk about the Aussies.
Yeah, being a WA boy, mate, I'm more than happy to talk NBL. Wildcats, they're bringing it back. It's coming home. Whatever slogan you want to give it. Yes, I have a little bit of Wildcat fever in me, but we are here to bring the insight when it comes to all things NBL Supercoach. You heard us here, right? NBL Supercoach. Welcome to the Supercoach land, NBL. We're going to talk about so many different things. What are the major differences between fantasy and Supercoach? We're going to reveal our teams of where they're currently at right now as well. We're going to give a little bit of insight to what's going on. But most importantly, mate, we're just going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun and a lot of chats. Anytime you're in the studio, mate, I know there's going to be a lot of fun.
Mate, I don't talk shit at all. So, yeah, look, I'm here to talk. And maybe we should start with, like, where we're from. Like, doing NRL. Like, you know, we've started this podcast network, I suppose, and there's been NRL and AFL from the start, and then it's turned into something beautiful. Like, you know, we've got plenty of fans, we've got plenty of listeners. I'm actually thinking, at least to start, a lot of our community will be maybe NRL and AFL supporters coming across and knowing the rules of Supercoach coming into NBL. So we'll be able to give those guys a little bit of insight with, I suppose, the NBL players, how the scoring works in the basketball. And then we've got all, 40,000 NBL fantasy players adjusting to the Supercoach game. We know the loopholes. We know the system. Slide into our DMs. We'll be able to help you out. So
we've been doing a bit of research. We're doing a lot of reading. We're going to bring on some other experts as well. We're going to make sure that these aren't the only two voices you're hearing throughout the podcast. We're going to make sure we have people that have been finishing in the top 10, people that finished in the top 50, bringing those differences between fantasy to Supercoach and what they're going to be looking for and making those changes, especially with the differences in the scoring systems that are coming along. But before we dive into our team reveals, before we dive into too much, we don't exist without our sponsors. And one that I want to give a shout out to is Astute Newstead. Ever wondered what is the best bank, or what are the current rates currently? Are they too high? Is my dream house affordable? Don't wonder anymore. Talk to our good friend Ryan at Astute Newstead, who can give you confidential lending assistance with no obligations attached. Don't get pigeonholed into one lender. Ryan specializes in residential home loans with over 50 lenders on panel, including the major banks. The best part, though, he does not charge a fee like other brokers. Astute Newstead offers personal, vehicle, and business loans. So reach out to Ryan at Astute Newstead on 0431 766 784 or email ryanh@eganwealth.com and use the code INSIGHT to let him know that we've sent you. Make sure, guys, you support those who support us. That is what makes this dream stay alive. Did I get that out right? Is that okay? Have I done my job?
Yeah. You did it through. And if I can add anything, realistically, Ryan's the reason I'm here today in my house. I had it. I was having a beer with him. I was doing some work in my line of work with Ryan. And I said, what do you do? We were sitting there having a beer. And he helped me refinance my house, which actually helped me get the extension on my house and saved me money per week with the interest rates. So yeah, again, when you're doing Supercoach, let us do the research for you. You don't have the time to go to 40 different lenders. Ryan does. Get in contact. He'll help you out.
So everyone listening along, there's two major ways that you'll be listening to us right now. One of them is obviously through your favorite podcasting network and listening to us through your airwaves. But those of you that are following along on that YouTube channel and seeing our beautiful faces as we talk to you along, make sure you click subscribe. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date information. We're going to have drafts, we're going to have conversation, we're going to have all that chat that you need. So make sure you hit that. One thing that we will definitely do, without a doubt, is we'll be bringing you some live shows as well that you can interact. You can send some comments. You can ask some questions. We call out every comment. We call out every question. We don't hide behind anything. Make sure you get involved with the show. Click subscribe and get that information sent to you straight away. Now, Matty, Mattrix, however you would like to be called, do you want to start with, should we go just a little bit over the stats and the scoring system for Supercoach? And then maybe we start to dive into where our teams are starting to look.
Yeah, man. So let's just delve into, I suppose, Supercoach. So when you're watching basketball, you get 2 points for a 2-point field goal. You get 3 points for a 3-point field goal, and you get 1 point for a free throw. You'll notice, apart from when you were playing NBL fantasy, you got negative stats. So you got some negative stats for missing field goals. So for having poor field goal percentage, you lost some stats. When you missed a free throw, you lost some stats. It's simplified here in Supercoach. You don't have to worry about that. Essentially, your player being on the floor, jacking up shots is good for your Supercoach scoring. You don't have to worry about, being up by 1 point, your guy getting the ball, jacking threes, doing a half-court shot, whatever. It's just great if your guys get the ball. And as somebody that watches sports with fantasy sports in mind, that's awesome.
I agree. I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic get for us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think I like the fact, I think we're going to get misconceptions and different mindsets on this show, which is really good. We're going to get different approaches to it. The missed shots is one for somebody who's jumping in for a first time. I think this is a really good scoring system for you as well to get involved and get your toes wet with what the NBL Supercoach is going to look like. It's going to make for very easily watching as well. For anyone out there who's watching the NBL, supporting the NBL, get on board and jump along and jump in. We will have a code to reveal to you later on to make sure people can jump in our Supercoach League as well. We encourage everyone to get along. There's going to be some fun prizes to give away and get everybody amongst it. So, yeah,
cool.
Look, I'm looking forward to it. I think that the money system, I love making sure you're going to bring your NRL Supercoach mindset. I've got my AFL sort of strategy mindset. We're going to embed that into our NBL knowledge and go from there.
Yeah, cool. So that's just the points. When we go in, we've got rebounds, 1 point. It's been nerfed a bit, is my feeling, as well as double-doubles, because, of course, the easiest way to get a double-double was always to get 10 rebounds. So it's been nerfed. It was worth 10 points in NBA fantasy. Now it's only worth 5. Assists are worth 2. Blocks are worth 3. Steals are worth 3 as well. And the only negative stats you can get is -2 for a turnover. So I think that's very fair. I think it's a really good scoring system. I've always found NBL fantasy a little bit hard to get into because I always thought that if you fucked up in the first week, your season is done in NBL fantasy. With the way that Supercoach works and prices don't change for 3 whole weeks, I think that this is a very forgiving way to play fantasy. And I think even if you're a casual and you're coming into this, you're a chance of winning Supercoach.
If you're not listening to this show after week 2, going to week 3, when price changes are happening, you might be using your boost for some trade system, and we'll talk about the trade system in a little moment. If you're not tuning into us after week 2, delete app, because that's going to be the time to make moves. Because you're going to need to be very careful that people just don't jump on board whoever's just scored massively to begin with. Schedules are going to be important. Double game weeks are going to be important. Making sure you still have some point of difference players as well, and looking forward to what that's going to look like. So if you're not tuning in between now and at least week 3, just delete app. You ain't finishing nowhere. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Anything else you want to go through, or do we want to dive into one of our teams first? Who are we starting with?
I reckon Yeah, I reckon let's dive into teams. Let's start talking. Like, you and I haven't done huge research to start this off. This is sort of gut feel, taking a look at like sort of where the money's at the moment. We've had a little bit of a look at schedule. I think it's fun that we're just kind of revealing where our first mindsets are at. And then as we go through episode and episode, we start talking about these double game weeks. I think then we're going to start to reveal where those teams go to. So we flipped a coin and it's your team first.
Thanks, man. Means a lot. As you pop up on screen, this is my team. This is my first team. Alex Tui's cut off there a little bit at the top. I suppose the first thing that you can see is there is a few next stars there in. The NBL next stars are priced really nicely. Of course, there's some rookies priced really nicely there as well. And I've gone with some proven guns and probably one just to roll the dice with. So I suppose I'll just start with my captain. Bryce Cotton really goes without saying. Wasn't a great NBL fantasy player because he shoots the ball a lot. And when you shoot the ball a lot, you miss the ball a lot. He's got a double game week straight up. I think that he is a non-negotiable to start. What do you think about Bryce Cotton, mate?
I love him. As a Wildcat man, I love him. I mean, I don't want to reveal my team yet, but there's reasons why, unfortunately, he's not sitting in my team. I think the big one for Bryce Cotton as well, you know what you're going to get from Bryce, definitely from the offensive end. I think with Usher coming in, maybe the defensive end might change. So will those steals and certain things maybe not be the same? But without getting penalized for missed shots, it's pretty hard not to put him in there. But again, his price is extremely high.
Yeah, so to me, this is like getting Nico Hines week 1 in NRL. What's your AFL equivalent?
It's like bringing in, we'll go with, it's like Bontempelli or Clayton Oliver week 1.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. And probably if you have a look at my team, I reckon the biggest spice is not owning 28% owned Mitchell Creek or 37% owned Travis in this build. But it's to fit Sobes and Williams in. Vickerman's rotations really worry me with Travis, and that niggling finger injury that we've heard about is worrying me with Creek. And you can do a lot with what you save by going Creek to Williams. There is merit, and I may do it yet, to get Travis in for the double game week. And then with that plan, go to Sobey when he goes to double game week 2. But to be completely honest, looking at week 1, there's a chance I do this. And the Supercoach disclaimer is if you get it wrong, you have 3 games and up to 9 trades with boosts, basically to fix your fuck-ups at the start. Like that's what they're there for. You can basically max trade. You only need to save 2 trades all year in NBL. So in a lot of other super coaches, you're saving trades to make sure you've got them at the end. You don't need to here. Just burn them, just use them every week. Your boosts become really important. But using 2 trades every week, don't be scared to do it. That's probably one little word of advice. And I'm a little bit more confident going with someone like Williams over Bolden. I'm seeing Bolden in a lot of teams. Look, realistically, Bolden hasn't played for a little while. He doesn't start with a double game week. And again, if Bolden is this epiphany that everybody thinks he's going to be, and he is priced that nicely, I can just go Williams to Bolden after a double game week. Or boost early, or just wait an extra week and get Bolden in before he goes up in price. I'm not sure Williams is a guy that's going to go up in price per se. I just think he's going to be a guy that's solid, and that's sort of where I'm looking at getting my couple primos in.
I like it. I think you got nice balance. I think you got reason behind it. I'm a big fan of Valentine. I think Valentine is actually priced really nicely for what he's going to bring as well. Saar at the Wildcats, I'm not sure what he's going to offer. There's been big raps on him. It's a backup. It's a nice price. I'm wary of the coach. The coach very much fell into the, giving like NBA type minutes to his top 5 players. But I think that's just because he lost confidence in the bench. So I think we're going to see a different sort of Wildcat rotation this year, especially it's a very different looking roster. But it looks good. Mate, personally, I want to get your insights to your bench. I think if we're true, we think we need to talk to the scoring system of the bench. Look, put my hand up. Anyone who's listening to this show, This is the guy to listen to a little bit more when it comes to the real insights. Those that are joining for a bit of fun and a bit of bands, this is where I'll come into it and give you a little bit of vibe, as I've told. But I want to hear about the
people
younger
usually
players.
only like my bands. People
I
usually
like
hate
band.
my takes and love my bands. So
the problem is I got to make sure I don't mold my team to your team so that we've actually got something for the listeners to like joke about. But at the same time, I like listening to your insights. We need to hear about these rookie price players. We need to talk about the next gen that's sort of coming through and what does that look like? Because in this game, they're scoring from your bench this year. This isn't like AFL. You get scores from your bench. And we also want to make sure we're finding a bit of cash cows or those breakout players for this year. So talk to us about who you've got on the bench and why.
Yeah, I suppose you can't enough in NBL Supercoach because you get 50% of their points added to your total score. So you have to make sure that you have guys playing every week. Even though I don't like Illawarra's early draw, Lockie Ulbrich, I'll start with him. Mate, the guy just looks like a gun. He's going to start off as Froling's backup, but his talent's elite. He's bottom dollar. An underrated signing that people just aren't talking about due to the fact that Illawarra has been the worst team in the league. So, yeah, people just aren't talking about anything there because Illawarra is Illawarra at the moment. I think that he'll be great this year. Jewel as well, if you want to move him around. Center is a very handy spot this year. If I could save some money, I am probably looking at moving Ulbrich up and maybe getting one of those other guys in that I'm missing in the forwards. Mate, there's a few centers that I want that I haven't been able to get, and Bolden is one of them. If I could find a way to get Bolden in instead of maybe some of these SARs and move Ulbrich up, I will. I suppose the next one we talk about is Tui. His ability to get to the rim in this Kings team just excites me. I think that he's a starter, and I think at $115,000, you just need to get a starter in your team for $115K. He's a next star. Yeah, I think that he's also a non-negotiable. Just seeing that, I think that he could start. Bannon, he could be anything. He's a great signing. Call it a Bullets homer. But being 69K, there's a role to fill, I suppose, with Krebs and blokes like that going. There's a lot of movement at the Bullets. When I say Bannon could be anything, the Bullets could be anything. So I suppose at 69K, it's limited risk. If another rookie emerges and these guys aren't the guys, then hey, let's move them on before week 3. I usually don't like wasting trades on bottom dollar guys too much, but if they're not seeing the court, then yeah, we'll find a way to move them on. Taran will be a starter to begin the season. He's bottom dollar. Cairns have a poor draw to start, but it allows you to spend money elsewhere, just getting a 69K guy in. Don't overthink it. Get him in. With his upside and price rise opportunity, Taran Armstrong starting for Cairns is must-have in my eyes. And Flowers, I mean, at 115K, like, he's starting for the 36ers. He's exciting. He's a prospective lottery pick. Kadee doesn't need to start to get his. We've seen that for most of his career. And, you know, Kadee still has Australian caps under his belt. I know you don't wear a cap in basketball or a belt, to be honest. But Flowers can handle the ball. He's pure athleticism. He can guard anywhere. He can handle the ball. Don't overthink it. Add him. He'll be a real feather to your cap, your basketball cap that you don't wear when you play basketball because it's played inside.
And who wears a feather? No, I love that, mate. No, it's good. I think it's really good insights, and that, mate, looks like a well-balanced team with a bit of chat going on. Look, it's going to be interesting, and I'm intrigued to get your thoughts on my team. We might change them up now. I want to give a shout out to the Standard Squeeze. You see the S on my hat, the S on my shirt. They don't just provide good merch; they provide great products. To the folks out at the Standard Squeeze that have been massive supporters of Inside Fantasy Sport. This is the 4-in-1 cup that they do. It gives you cold, it gives you hot, it gives you a stubby holder. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. They also have their bottles where you pour in your spirits or you pour in your wine and you can squeeze a standard pour, which is exactly what we want. It's a fantastic product, and I encourage everybody to get on, especially with even Father's Day coming up at the moment. Never too late to get your dad a gift, or just go on and get yourself a gift. Use the code INSIGHT15 to get 15% off all their products. I know Matty O'Brien recommends them highly.
Yeah, they're good. They keep my coffee warm, and they keep my hard solos cool.
Hard solos, very good. I like it. All right, let's take a sneaky look at my team, mate. I've gone a bit of a different route. There's a few players there that you've sort of already mentioned as well. I think there's a couple of no-brainers on the bench that you've already mentioned too. But to give everyone a little bit of a different perspective, I have gone the Mitch Creek route. I really like I think the scoring system really suits him. I think he does a little bit of everything. I think you're going to get that ability from that defensive end as well as the offensive end as well. For me,
can you do me a favor, man?
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you say route every time instead of route?
Route instead of route? No, I'm a route.
Yeah,
it's
I
route.
just find it funny.
It's route. I've always been route. There'll be a few words we say different. By the way, it's a palmy, okay? It's not a palmer. Are you palmer in Queensland? Are you palmer or palmy? Yeah.
No, we're palmy.
Oh, good. We can get along then. That's fine. We can play on.
Cheers.
It's always palmy. Bloody Victorians and New South Welshmen, I think. Idiots. Parmigiana. It's palmy. Shut up. All right. Anyways, we move on. Are you Derby or Derby?
Derby.
Yeah, Derby. See, Queensland and WA, we get each other. We're okay. Other than NRL sucks and AFL's way better. That's the only thing we disagree on. Mitch Creek for me. For me as well, Keanu Pinder coming over to the Perth Wildcats. They absolutely were so poor on the boards last year. That was what they went out and recruited. He was pretty sure he was top of the league in boards last year. I think he's going to be an absolute beast. They're going to leave the boards for him. He's going to be a walking double-double, especially with Bryce Cotton just feeding him under the basket. I think he's going to be that defensive end as well. So for me, I really had to have him in my team. I am one of the people that thinks Jonah Boulder's going to have a massive year. I think he sits with a really nice price. Mate, if anything, you're the one that's kind of moved me towards this sort of more well-balanced pricage. I did have my AFL Supercoach hat on, which was very much around, get your primos in and then get your rookies. But I think in this format, it just doesn't work as well, especially until I understand where those rookie-like minutes are going to be. So for me, Jonah Boulder sits in that center space. I got Luke Travers as well, mainly because I think his upside is what I'm looking for. Do I think he's truly going to be that massive primo? No, but I think his upside from what he's priced based on his minutes last year at the Wildcats and opportunity compared to what he's going to get now, I see him going up in price. And if I can get that value early and he's somebody that's going to sit in my team consistently, then when the time comes, I'm able to use that bank to move across and structure in some other areas where I need. No different to me taking the risk on Flowers being in my starting lineup. The second CJ came out and said, he's starting. For me, I went, you know what? I'm going to take that chance on 115. Yes, he might not play full starters minutes or massive minutes, but again, at 115K, he's going to get enough minutes, enough opportunity to skyrocket in price. And for me, it was about getting points on the board, yes, but also getting dollars early to make those right moves as I move forward. You already spoke to Tui. Actually, I'll let you go. What do you think about my starting lineup?
Yeah, I really like it. I, again, did the same thing. The first thing I did is I went and added Bryce Cotton, Mitch Creek, and Sobey, which is a bit of a homer. But if we're talking about Bryce Cotton doing what he does, Sobey's going to do what he does, but to a poor extent for that. I think Luke Travis is a good get, and I think that he could be must-have. I know he's not in my team, but I think Luke Travis could be must-have. Just with Vickerman's minutes, I hate it.
Yeah, I agree. Vickerman's is the killer.
Yeah, and Keanu Pinder, there's going to be some rebounds there for him in Perth. That's what has let Perth down most last year. And Pinder is the answer. Very similar logic, I suppose, when you have a look that I've just gone with Alan Williams and you've gone with Pinder. Look, very similar style of players, very similar price. And I think that there's going to be a lot to clean up. I do like that you've allowed yourself to get some extra centers through using your duels there. And I like Jonah Bolden, and I like Jonah Bolden at 230K. But I think Huck Porty, I don't know about the pronunciation, could be your best center between him and Bolden. So lead us into that.
Well, if that's the case as well, then I feel pretty good about it. Do you know what I mean? It also allows me to make a move. Like I'm a big dual position guy. It's no different to if Mitch Creek isn't working for me, Travers goes up to the forwards, Bryce Cotton comes straight into my guards. At the moment, I don't have the money. That probably would have been my choice. So I've got 31,800 just sitting there, which I don't think is enough to make the move from Mitch Creek to Bryce Cotton. I think it's just short by a couple of thousand. So if I had it my way, it would be Travers as a forward and Bryce Cotton. But these other players that I've picked on the bench, like in my opinion, I had to have Pinder. I thought Bolden's value was also too good. I've heard good things from some of our experts with regards to Huck Porty that I thought it must be a must-have at 172. Johnson's the one I'm unsure at, but again, I've done a little bit of research. I think he's going to get those minutes. I'm not sold. But I'm also didn't see anybody else at that price or 69,000 that I needed to grab to get him in. If I find that there's some breakout 69K player, he's the first one to go. Flowers moves to the bench and Bryce Cotton comes straight onto that sort of, I find a way to get Bryce Cotton from Mitch Creek and we do a few moves that way. But yeah, like you said, Armstrong's a no-brainer for me. The big one for me that stood out was 50% of scoring still from the bench. So you got to make sure you're getting guys that are getting minutes. At the same time as I wanted guys that are going to go up in cash. That's where my head was at.
So I think I will own AJ Johnson at some stage throughout the year. But I think like looking at Illawarra's draw early, it's just got me staying away. And we're going to do the scheduling. And I know that we're going to dive into it a little bit more later. We're probably going to do a whole episode. We are going to do a whole episode on it. I'm going to target when I suppose Illawarra go on a big run, when they go on a run of double game weeks. They don't really ever get an easy schedule, being what was the worst team in the league last year. But I saw them live last year, and realistically, they were a pretty good team. But I think the opportunity's there in a team that finished last for any of these guys. AJ Johnson's going to be exciting. Doesn't have a double game week for week one. I think that they're all really good picks there, and I will probably maneuver my team around a little bit. I suppose the big question between our teams is who's going to score better between Sobey and Travis.
Can I give you a question? Because I'm sort of having a look. If everyone's watching on YouTube and they see me looking, wow, I've got my iPad here. I think it makes for good conversation. I don't even think we said we were going to go there in this show, but having a quick look, because AJ Johnson is probably the one that's not going to be there for me for week one for exactly what you said. A lot of people have been talking about Brad Newley. He's 91,200 forward guard. He's still sitting at 15% ownership. Do you think this is just because everybody knows the name Brad Newley that he's got that kind of ownership at that price? Because my concerns are it's a stay away. You?
Yeah, I think that. I think that his ceiling might be 15 minutes behind Travis. He played almost all of his minutes at the 4 last year, probably due to losing a step in pace, in speed. And Travis is going to play that a lot better. I think Travis is going to play in the forward position with Delhi. Since it's Delhi's there in the backcourt, like he's not going to get that sort of role where he plays that guard. He's going to be more at power forward at Melbourne. And what have they got? Shea Illy starting as well. He's going to get the ball around. I think Delhi will play off ball too. Newley will come off. Yeah, Newley might only play 12 to 15 minutes a night. And that's not enough for me to get a 36-year-old when you've got these guys with this upside. It's similar price points.
I'm right in saying you're a Bullets man, aren't you?
Yep.
Give me a bit of the lowdown on Isaac White.
Isaac White's good. I'm just not sure he's going to get the opportunity this year.
Fair enough.
If we're looking at the Bullets
in place, he's at 9%, 88,500 straight guard. Do Brisbane have the double schedule to start?
Brisbane do not.
Okay. All good.
I think that he's sort of there because he's cheap. I don't think that he's going to... Look, he could carve himself out a role, but definitely not somebody that I'll be looking to get in week one.
Beautiful. Anyways, mate, we said we would dive deeper into episode 2, episode 3, episode 4. We've got so much to come. We're going to keep this one under 30 minutes. Do you have any final words from you, my friend?
No, it's just we've got a lot of NBL content coming. We're, of course, doing our NBA content, and the boys will be leading into BBL content. Some shorter episodes here. This is half an hour. We will try and get you plenty of preseason content, and stay with us.
Yeah, mate. I'm looking forward. I'm loving jumping in the studio with you. I think it's going to be a hell of a fun time. We've even talked about we're going to make sure we pull out some snippets. We're on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Follow us on Instagram. We're going to make sure we put out some short videos for you for some quick ways. We know this is the time to give you the information on how to build your teams. We also want to make sure that we get you along, jumping into our league as well. I'm quickly trying to find that as we speak. We're going to make sure that we have a league for you. Here it is. Make sure you jump on our league. The code is 680481. I'll say it again, 680481 for our unlimited Insight Fantasy Sport League. We encourage everyone and anyone to get involved. Take on the Mattrix, take on the Hawk, and we'll see how we go. Mate, it's going to be a pleasure. I'm looking forward to it. I've really enjoyed this. It went way longer than we even thought this one would go, and I can see that's where our chat will take us. Looking forward to diving in with you. I know you've got the schedules. You've done a shit ton of research to get things going for people to make sure they know what their team needs to look like for round 1. Everybody out there, thank you for listening to our episode number 1 for Insight NBL. We're looking forward to an exciting year. Until next time, guys, peace out.
Cheerio.